I haven't seen much of Madrimov, but I think Crawford's a very technically great boxer, one of the best in this generation. So,
as Terrence Crawford is ready to go up to a higher weight class to take on Israil Madrimov, boxing professionals have offered their startling predictions for the fight. Crawford takes the time to share his observations with the boxing media. Crawford talks about his thoughts on the next fight, his future goals, and his counsel to Shakur Stevenson to disregard unfavorable remarks. When asked which components of Madrimov's game he would try to neutralize, Crawford said he would concentrate on everything about him, acknowledging that despite only having 11 professional fights, Israil Madrimov was a decorated amateur with a wealth of experience. Crawford emphasized that each opponent contributed something unique to the game, and that Madrimov was a world champion for a reason, deserving of respect just like any other opponent he had faced.
Well, just everything about him. He's a decorated amateur. He got a lot of experience in the amateur field. He may only have 11 fights, but he's 11 fights in the world champion for a reason. So he's strong. I got to respect everything about him. Just like I got to respect everything about any other opponent that I've been in the ring with, because everybody brings something different.
Moreover, Crawford thanked Andre Ward for allowing him the chance to spar, stating it was awesome to be able to say he sparred with the man. Crawford characterized his most recent sparring session with Ward as a fantastic experience. Crawford said the sparring session was a great experience that he will remember, since he found it to be really helpful.
Then Terrence Crawford versus Canelo. Am I crazy for saying that? Or
no, crazy. You're not crazy because that's your opinion.
Right.
That's your opinion, but at the same time, being where I'm at right now, I'm looking at the fight that makes the most sense, and that's not Boots. Canelo's going to bring way more to my legacy, way more to my bank account, because at the end of the day, when boxing is done with, what will we have?
Mm-hmm.
I want to have a legacy that's something that people talk about for.
Crawford acknowledged Israil Madrimov as a tough opponent and stated that he was not taking him lightly, having prepared thoroughly and not taking any shortcuts. When asked if he expected Israil Madrimov to be a technically difficult fight, Crawford said it could be. He emphasized that every fight had the potential to be his toughest.
It was dope. I appreciate Drake for even, giving me the opportunity to step in the ring with him. I can say that, I sparred Andre Ward. That's dope, So, it was good sparring. It was very good experience for me. I'm gonna take it to the.
Shakur Stevenson's most recent performance has faced criticism. Crawford praised Stevenson as one of the greatest, if not the best, pure fighters in the sport, and advised him to stick to his routine and not worry about criticism or negative publicity after he defeated his opponent with great ease. Crawford emphasized that not everyone is a knockout puncher, and the most important thing is to win decisively, so that there is no doubt as to who the winner is. Since Shakur is among the best boxers in the game, if not the best boxer I tell him to keep doing what he is doing and not worry about the negative attention or backlash he may receive for convincingly defeating the opponent.
His name keeps coming up, and I know he's a lot smaller than you. Is that a fight that you would ever consider under any circumstance?
I always say if the fight make sense, why not? But he's not.
Since nobody will knock out every opponent, as long as you win in a way that makes it clear you're doing well. Only with a decisive victory will Turkey organize the Terrence Crawford versus Israil Madrimov fight. Ulik is considered by many to be one of the most important people in boxing right now. Chairman of the General Entertainment Authority of Saudi Arabia, Ulik has overseen a number of significant boxing events in the last 18 months, excluding the Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk match. The 42-year-old has expressed his belief that Crawford will put on a historic performance against Madrimov, but top boxing promoter Eddie Hearn is not convinced. He believes the WBA champion has the ability to pull off a major upset against one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the sport. In a recent interview, Hearn discussed the upcoming 154-pound title fight and said it will likely be the best card American boxing has ever seen. On August 3rd in Los Angeles, I actually sent His Excellency a message yesterday saying I'm so sorry to wreck your plans for Terrence Crawford, since all people can talk about is what's going to happen next.
You know, like I said in the past, every fight could be my toughest fight. I don't know until I step foot in the ring. You know, Israil is definitely a tough opponent. We definitely not taking him lightly. We never, you know, took any shortcuts on this fight.
Israil Madrimov is being incredibly disregarded. Boots by Canelo Alvarez and a nice Hearn went on. But Israil Madrimov, in my opinion, is the hardest test Crawford has faced thus far in his career, standing at 154. He is a massive light middleweight super welterweight fighter with amazing movement, a strong boxing IQ, and an incredible amateur background. This match is scheduled for July 2023. Errol Spence Jr. was defeated by Terrence Crawford via technical knockout, earning him the title of undisputed welterweight champion.
And watching him was, you know, picking up some things from him, learning some things from him, you know, always dreaming about one day being on that stage, you know, and people cheering, you know, and my family there, you know, like everyone, and I'm like a big boxing star, something like that, you know, but never really kind of like pay attention to it too much, you know, who I'm gonna fight or stuff like that. Whoever is there, I was ready to fight. Starting my debut, we won at the World Championship fight at the in my debut. Unfortunately, we couldn't make it, so we went for all the sanctioning bodies, you know, trying to get up there in the
Triumph Bud made history by becoming the first boxer to win undisputed world titles in 2 weight classes. After the Truth exercised his rematch clause because he was legally required to face Spence Jr. again, negotiations for a rematch began. The IBF sanctioning body stripped Crawford of his title because he refused to accept a fight with his required Jaron Ennis, the challenger, announced his decision to move up to the 154-pound weight class in an attempt to regain undisputed glory after the rematch negotiations broke down. However, Ennis is regarded as one of the best boxers in the world following his recent IBF title defense against David Avarisyan of Turkey.
You know, so I just tell Shakur, just continue to doing what you're doing. Don't worry about the negative attention that you're getting. Don't worry about the backlash that you're getting from beating the guy convincingly. Everybody's not a knockout puncher. Everybody's not going to go in there and knock every one of their opponents out. As long as you win it in a fashion where there's no confusion who the winner is, then you're doing something.
On X, Al Sheikh posted this. I recently messaged boxers Jaron Ennis and Eddie Hearn to wish them luck in their upcoming fight at 154 pp. Director Rich Hall uses top-notch creative studio to create an emotional film that highlights Terrence Crawford and Israil Madrimov highly anticipated bout. The film vividly depicts each fighter's journey from their childhood bedrooms and living rooms to training facilities and cross-country travels leading up to the impending match at LA Stadium, as each boxer finds their corner. The film then seamlessly transitions into a visual narrative.
Before I turned pro, I wasn't really watching like all the professional fights and stuff like that. You know, I'll be watching only like big fights like Pacquiao Marquez, you know, I would watch all Triple G's fights, like Pacquiao and guys like that, you know, but I wouldn't be paying attention to like all the fights. When I turned pro, I started watching more of it and recognizing some of the greatest, you know, and Terrence was one of those guys. I never thought that I'll be like I wanted to fight him or.
Hall creates a seamless visual link between the battle and the flashbacks by deftly utilizing the ring's geometry and its 4 corners to connect the past with the present. Rich Tall said, I worked up an idea that told the stories of 2 incredible people, Terrence Crawford and Israil Madrimov. Depending on how we interacted with their corners of the ring, we would be transported to Omaha, Nebraska, or a small town in Belarus. At times, we would match cut. At other times, we would build sets into the corners, creating a sort of college of their lives within the square. WBA junior middleweight champion Israil Madrimov, who has a 10-17 record, claims that his extensive amateur experience has prepared him well for his impending title defense against Terrence "Bud" Crawford, the undefeated former two-division undisputed champion.
To get their best opportunities, and I'm thinking about the task ahead of me as Terrence Crawford. Obviously, I see all the talks and everything that people are like, oh, Canelo Crawford, talking about those fights. Maybe it's time already now to talk about Madrimov Canelo. You're right. And after the fight, of course, I'm going to look for the biggest fights. And opportunity to fight Canelo is a special one. I would love that one.
Bud Crawford, a 29-year-old USC fighter, has fought in over 300 amateur fights, with 2/3 of those bouts taking place in international championships. Israil Madrimov said, "I have fought in 10 professional fights, all of which were of a high caliber. They were all WBA bouts, and all 10 of them lasted 12 rounds against tough opposition. I have also fought in more than 200 international amateur fights, for a total of over 300,000 amateur fights. The ring will show everything on August 3rd. You will see everything." Crawford, a southpaw, has enjoyed one of the most prosperous careers in the contemporary age. After 2 successful title defenses, he traveled to Glasgow, Scotland, 10 years ago to defeat WBO lightweight champion Ricky Burns to capture his first world title. Crawford advanced to the junior welterweight division, where he successfully unified the WBC, WBA, WBO, and IBF titles last year. He repeated this feat in the welterweight division, where he has faced opponents for the world title 18 times, winning all but 15 of them by knockout. Despite Crawford's impeccable record, Madrimov says he sees chances that he should seize. Israil Madrimov stated, "We've been observing certain things, but we won't discuss them just now. A lot of fighters are losing to Crawford before they ever enter the ring, which means their careers are already kind of in the dumps with me. I have a strong mentality. In addition to Madrimov's WBA belt, there will be a vacant WBO interim title up for grabs in the Crawford battle. I know what I'm capable of, and I know that this fight is crucial for me, my family, my legacy, and the entire nation. I am supported by the entire nation, so I'm going to do everything in my power to win. My only thoughts are positive ones, and I know what I'm capable of. Everyone is talking about this fight, and everyone is anticipating the August 3rd fight as the anticipation for this momentous match grows. Crawford is still committed to dispelling any notions that he and Saul would fight in the future." Canelo Alvarez's cross-court stated, "Despite his incredible record, I'm not thinking about Canelo or any other boxer right now. All of my thoughts are on August 3rd and the fight against Israil Madrimov. Madrimov and unbeaten Virgil Ortiz Jr. appear to be at a feud. Madrimov, curious about the beginnings of the rivalry, was training for his fight against Bud Crawford and sparring with Ortiz Jr. under Robert Garcia's supervision. It all began when the USC boxer, in an interview with Snow Queen Law, made comments about the sparring session and Ortiz that didn't sit well with. If you like this video, be sure to watch some of our others that are displayed on the screen.